Is the Huron County real estate market just cruising into fall, or are we hitting that pause before things pick back up? August brought a few curveballs. While sales volumes dipped slightly from July, we saw steady prices, a shift in buyer behavior, and what we thought to be a good start to the fall market. I've been working with buyers and sellers navigating low showings, slower momentum, and then suddenly competing offers. So what's really going on out there? Let's walk through the August numbers and what they really mean for buyers and sellers. Stick around to the end because I'm going to break down how these quiet weeks can turn into bidding situations in a blink and what you should do about it. Okay, let's start this off with months of inventory. August ended up with 6.4 months of inventory in Huron County. That's up from July's 6.1 months, keeping us well in a buyer's market territory. New listings came in at 181, down slightly 3 from July's 184. So supply is stable, but the demand has definitely softened. Most active listings in August I saw were detached homes, with 73% of all inventory falling into that category. Price-wise, the bulk of homes on the market were in the $500,000 to $600,000 range, followed by the $400,000 to $500,000 range and the $600,000 to $700,000 range. This gives buyers more options and time, but that doesn't mean that you should wait. Sellers, this isn't new advice, but it's still the most relevant. Overpricing upfront just delays your sales and makes your competition look better. August's average sale price landed around $595,000. That's down from July's unusually high $696,000, but more in line with June's $600,000. That could simply just be an explanation of a small sample size of sales to average it out. So to break it down, this tells us that higher end properties drove July's spike, but August returned to a more typical average. With 68 sales recorded this month, we're seeing consistent movement from well-priced, move-in ready homes. But make no mistake, the buyers in the game right now are cautious and intentional. Sellers, this is the time to listen closely on pricing advice. Don't chase last month's numbers, chase today's buyer expectations. Moving along, let's talk time on the market. Average days on market in August was 66 days with a median of 40. That's up a bit from July's average of 61 days, but here's where things get interesting. Of all listings in August, only 1.66% sold in the first week, 4.4% sold in the second week, and 8.29% between the weeks 3 and 4. That means 61% of listings remained active at the end of the month and 22 were pulled from the market altogether. But what does that mean? Buyers are waiting, hoping prices are going to drop, but many listings are fairly priced, they just haven't had the right buyer walk through the door yet. Sellers, if you're on the market longer than a month, that doesn't automatically mean something's wrong. And buyers, don't assume sitting listings are stale and overpriced. Timing is everything right now. Let's talk financing. We have been riding a wave of stable rates for a while now, but many economists expected the Bank of Canada to make a move on September 17th, and in fact they did. With the reduction of a 25 basis point rate cut, our new interest rates are now hovering around 4.15 for fixed rates and 4.7 for variable. So again, what does this actually mean for you as a buyer or a seller? Honestly, pretty much nothing in the short term. The fall market is still moving at a slower pace, and a modest cut like this isn't going to suddenly pull thousands of buyers off the sidelines. Experts are predicting that bigger changes are likely to come in 2026 once we've seen a couple more cuts and fixed rate mortgages ease into the mid 3% range. At that point, lower borrowing costs combined with softer prices in some segments could help more buyers re-enter our market. Until then, expect things to stay fairly steady. The important takeaway is that slower markets aren't bad markets. They're just giving buyers more breathing room and sellers more time to prepare for the next upswing, and are simply part of the natural ebb and flow of real estate. And here's something I always remind my clients. It's not just about the rate, it's about the terms. Different lenders calculate penalties on fixed rate mortgages differently, and those penalties can cost you thousands of dollars if the rates go down or you break early. That's why I always recommend chatting with a mortgage professional who can help you look beyond the surface of the rate. If you need a good referral, I've got people in my corner who will break it down clearly and help you find the best fit. So what does all of this mean when we zoom out and look at the big picture of the August market? Here's the twist. Even in a slower market, I had 3 buyer clients end up in competing offers over the last 3 weeks. So how does that happen when showings are light, urgency is low, and inventory is high? Buyers are taking their time, watching and waiting, but once one makes a move, the listing agent often notifies others, and suddenly buyers who were sitting on the fence jump in too. That's how a quiet listing can flip into a multiple offer situation overnight. The difference from the COVID era bidding wars is clear though. Most of these homes are still sold at or below asking. Today, it's less about throwing out the biggest number and more about writing the cleanest and most attractive offer that the seller wants to work with moving forward. So the buyer takeaway here is you've got more breathing room right now, but the good homes still move quickly. Have your financing lined up and be ready to act when the right one comes along. For sellers, your takeaway is pricing and presentation are everything. With only 1 in 5 homes selling in the first month, don't count on a fast sale unless you are pricing ahead of the market and marketed well. This market isn't fast, but it's strategic. The wins are going to those who are prepared, stay patient, and play the long game. Thanks for sticking along this far. Real estate, as I always say, is hyper-local and specific to your price range, your home type, and the town. If you want helping understand where you stand, whether that's selling your current home or knowing how far your budget's gonna go in today's market, I'm always happy to chat. Shoot me a message, call or text, and if this update gave you clarity, feel free to like it, share, or tag someone that you think might find it helpful as well. Thanks for watching. I will be back next month with an updated report.